Josh and Ewan in the morning. Hello everyone, we're ripping off gimmicks from Community because that's the only show that I watch anymore. But yeah, we've got some new comics news for you today that's not related to the comics, but is comics adjacent because Ghost Rider, which we were all looking forward to as a part of, Marvel's MCU Phase 4 slate, except that it wasn't going to be a part of the MCU because Hulu, even though they were bringing back Gabriel Luna from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., was going to be playing Robbie Reyes, but then also that wasn't going to be connected, and it was all very confusing. And compounding this confusion even further, or in a bid to make it less confusing perhaps, Hulu have gone ahead and stopped Ghost Rider.
Yes.
It's not happening anymore.
Right.
Which is,
Ewan, talk me through this, because I am a, unintelligent little child, essentially. I'm just going to admit to you all now, that is exactly what I am. And I didn't really understand what was going on with this, because obviously Ghost Rider debuted in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like you said, which was a part of the MCU. What was even the plan originally to take the character out of that and sort of separate him, even though Disney owns Hulu?
Yeah,
so
it's very, very weird because the Ghost Rider character was one of the most well-received aspects of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s later seasons, and it made sense to have that character spin off into his own show because he's Ghost Rider. Despite the fact that he doesn't have too many legendary comics, he's one of Marvel's most recognizable characters. He starred in 2 big films of varying quality and banter with Nicolas Cage, and he's definitely one of their front-running characters, and it makes sense for them to use him in whatever context they had planned. But it was a little bit weird that you'd go out your way to say that this isn't connected to the MCU. I always find it weird when TV executives say that they've got a character that's situated and so they say, oh, it's not connected. Then you're like, well, do you mean it's just not going to cross over? Because connected and crossover don't mean the same thing. But anyway, why has this been cancelled? Well, according to Deadline, we have the news that basically Hulu they cited creative differences. The quote was, a creative impasse which could not be resolved.
I love
which
that.
is
just very straight to the point. You know what? We've got major creative differences. We can't work through them. We've been to a creative differences, therapy session, and it's not helped. We're just going to cut our ties.
Irreconcilable differences. That's how they do it. But basically, renowned Twitter film ITK Daniel Richtman basically has revealed that the reason why Hulu have cancelled this, ostensibly, is because Kevin Feige himself has big plans for Ghost Rider in the MCU, and they touch on in their report on basically how before we busted out with Blade on Comic-Con earlier in the year, Hulu had planned their own supernatural contingent of Marvel TV shows. They wanted Blade, they wanted Moon Knight, they wanted Ghost Rider, and they've also got a weird hodgepodge of characters still to come. They've got a Damon Hellstrom show coming out, which is kind of like Marvel's version of John Constantine in a way. They've got a MODOK show coming out, Hitmonkey, Tiger, and Dazzler, and Howard the Duck will also launch on there. And it's very peculiar the way that Hulu is still working, even though Disney would probably be keen to keep everything on Disney Plus.
Absolutely. It's in the context of the names you've just reeled off, as someone who's very much into this world but doesn't have the detailed knowledge.
I know that you're really excited for MODOK.
I'm really excited for MODOK. Yeah, this is my most anticipated show of a generation. But what I was going to say is Ghost Rider to me stands out. It stood out when he was introduced into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in general. I always sort of, my first reaction was, he's bigger than that show. Like you said, he's had 2 movies. He's a household name essentially. So it makes sense in my eyes for Kevin Feige to want to bring him back, especially now that we've got Blade. Had that not happened, had we not had plans for Moon Knight, had we not had plans for Blade to be in the MCU kind of, proper, I might have, just sort of assumed that a Ghost Rider show could happen. But since those other characters are getting either the big screen or the Disney Plus treatment, for me it makes sense to bring them back, even though a kind of supernatural Marvel-based TV show would have been awesome. I feel like if you take it back in-house, you can do Ghost Rider well, because Ghost Rider needs to be done well. I know it was really kind of well received in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but the stench of Nick Cage is still around. I can still smell it up my giant nostrils, you know what I mean?
The rider's knocking on the door!
No!
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Marvel has such a great crop of supernatural characters, and again, I think this might be a consequence of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Derrickson really leaning into the horror elements. He came from Sinister, so it makes sense for that to happen. And I love the idea of having a Midnight Suns crossover. You could bring Blade, Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, and all the other supernatural characters into that. And even though I would have loved to have seen a Ghost Rider show on Hulu, if it ever were to come to the UK, I think it definitely makes sense for both Marvel and its fans to have maybe a more premium offering, hopefully with Gabriel Luna back as Robbie Reyes, because that character has experienced a meteoric rise over the past decade. But yeah, let us know what your thoughts on Ghost Rider being canned at Hulu are down in the comments below. Do you think that Kevin Feige has made the right decision to pluck the rider from their hands and take him back into the MCU along with Blade and Moon Knight and whatever supernatural characters they may have in store? As always, you can follow me on Twitter at YourMoonsThings. You can follow Josh on Twitter at
Josh Broom with 2 R's at Twitter.
Cool, and you can find more stuff like this on whatculture.com/comics. For now, though, have a good day. We'll see you next time.